All right, check this shit out. Today I'm gonna show you how to cope with an octopus. Before you say anything, I know octopus is a controversial food. A lot of people don't want to eat it for a lot of reasons. I'm not here to debate that. I hope if you're watching this video, it's in good faith, learning how to deal with an octopus. So what I have here is a Pacific 2-spot octopus. It has the spot here on both sides. This is a local species that I see when I'm lobster diving. And I see a lot of them. I don't take them very often. It's a really good sustainable food choice because there's no commercial fishery for these. There's no pressure on them. Sometimes there's bycatch in a lobster trap, and the rest is all people like me catching them by hand. For me, it's a really good personal choice. I like being out there. I like spending calories and getting food. So I'm gonna show you how to clean this up from scratch. This one still has the guts and everything in it. I'm gonna teach you how to cook it, and then we're gonna make some delicious dishes with it. So let's get right to it. So we're gonna start by just cleaning it up a little bit. I kind of gave it a really good rinse, a couple of water changes. And now what I'm gonna do is just salt it down very, very heavily. I'm doing that in part to get some salt into the meat, and also because it's kind of slimy. I mean, let's be real, this is a sea monster. It's covered in tentacles, it has a beak, it's got slime. It actually, even after you clean the slime, it keeps kind of extruding slime. This is a challenging food. Every time I'm here messing with an octopus in my sink, I'm kind of like questioning my life choices. But when I'm eating octopus, I love it. So I know the Hawaiians will really salt this and massage it for a while, which they believe will tenderize the octopus. I'm actually gonna tenderize it with cooking, so I'm not too worried about that. So if you want tender octopus, and trust me, you do want tender octopus, there are two different ways you can cook it. One is you can cook it really hot and fast, like sear it on a stove. Just barely cook it for a minute or two, or as minimal as possible, and it'll be tender. And the other is you cook it for a long time, like an hour, and then it's like a braise. It breaks down the muscle tissue where it starts to get tender again. Anywhere in between a minute and an hour, and it's rubber bands. You don't want to do that. So I've tried cooking it a variety of ways. I've tried steaming it in sake, which is how they do it for sushi. I've tried grilling it. I've tried smoking it. I tend to prefer this method I'm going to use, which is to poach it in broth. The octopus is an animal of water, so we're 70 or 80% water, whatever. An octopus, I feel like, is a way higher ratio. It's maybe 90% water. It has no bones. The way it moves is with muscle, but also hydraulic pressure. So it's very much a water animal, and if you cook it dry, it shrinks way down and you lose a lot of meat, and it gets kind of tough. So what I'm gonna do is poach it in broth, and I'm gonna use a classic French broth called a court bouillon. If you don't know what this is, it's a really great, really easy vegetarian broth that you can use to cook a lot of things. If you're gonna make a shrimp cocktail, this is a fantastic broth to use. I'm gonna poach my octopus in the court bouillon for an hour, and then it's cooked and it's tender, and we'll turn it into dishes, maybe a secondary cooking, or we'll see what we do with it. So the court bouillon goes down real easy. I'm gonna take a whole bulb of fennel, which I just cut in half. I'm gonna take a lemon. This is a Meyer lemon off my back tree, cut in half. I'm gonna take one celery stalk, I'll just break it in half so it fits. You wanna take just a little clump of basil, and then you wanna add in about a teaspoon of peppercorns, and you wanna add in a nice healthy two pinches of salt like that. I'm not going for seawater saltiness here, but I want it to be salty. We're just gonna let this come to simmer and boil for about 10 minutes to infuse the broth, and then the octopus will go right in there with the vegetables for an hour. All right, guys, this is where it gets really challenging. So I salted this octopus. I just drained it, rinsed it and drained it a little bit. Now we're gonna clean it. So here's the body. This thing is like 90% meat. These are tentacles, that's all edible. There's where the eye would be. Up here there's a giant head, and it looks like, oh, there's a lot of meat. This whole thing is kind of like a water balloon of guts. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut it kind of right below the eye. We'll take the beak out, and that's all usable meat from below. And there's really not that much meat in the head by the time you clean it up and cook it. It shrinks down to kind of like one bite. So I'm not too fussed about that, but I do wanna try to use it if I can. I'm just gonna cut right below the eye. There we go, that wasn't so bad. And you can see that's where the beak sticks out. It really is kind of like a beak. It's kind of cool. So our court bouillon has been going for 10 minutes. Let's boiling hard. I'm really getting the smell of lemon and fennel coming out of there. And then we're gonna just go in with the octopus. So one thing aesthetically is if you want the tips to curl up, which is usually how people like to serve it, is you wanna kind of dunk and then lift. And see, it's already curling up. Dunk and lift. If you don't do this, they'll end up really straight in the end. So we're gonna go dunk and lift. Just gonna do this 3 or 4 times, and then we're just gonna go in there. I'm gonna let it come back to a boil, and then I'm gonna reduce to a simmer for about an hour. Okay, so it's been 1 hour, and the way you wanna check this is you take a wooden skewer and you just push it into the fat part of the upper body. And it should go in really easily. All right, so we're back. I had to run out last night, but here's my cooked octopus. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just kind of break this down into tentacles. This is way too much for me to eat in one day, so all we're doing is separating each tentacle from the last. All right, so we're gonna make a quick Peruvian style ceviche with this. So I've got my octopus here. I've got red onion, I've got lime, I'll put 1 Thai chili, I've got salt, and I like to use just 1 blood orange in there. So I'll start by always roll your citrus when you're gonna juice it. It helps free up the juice a little bit better. Look at that blood orange. Look at that. Especially with kind of the red of the octopus, it visually goes really well. So we're just gonna cover all of this octopus with citrus juice. Probably need more than 3 limes. So I'm gonna add a good generous pinch of salt here. We're gonna do just 1 little Thai chili here, and I'm gonna leave the seeds in. I'm just gonna go kind of a medium dice on this pepper. Just give it a little heat. I think that'll be nice. And then we're gonna use half a red onion, maybe not even a whole half. What I want here visually is kind of long slices of the onion, so I'm just gonna cut that cheek off. And then I'm gonna go as thin as I kind of reasonably can by hand. And I actually am not gonna use anywhere near half of this. I'm gonna use about that, about 1/4 of a red onion. So those are gonna go in. Just break those up a little bit. Okay, so here's where we are. I've got the lime, the blood orange, red onion, salt, Thai chili, and octopus, and it's just gonna sit in here. Just gonna kind of tamp it down. I don't need to have everything perfectly covered. It's already cooked. It's just more of a marinade. And that can just sit in the fridge. This will be good. It's already cooked octopus. This will actually be good for days. Okay, it's dinner time, and we're gonna do 2 preparations for this octopus. Number 1 is we're gonna do the classic kind of Spanish octopus where I'm going to grill it with paprika and garlic and salt and serve it with a little olive oil and lemon. And then we're gonna plate up that ceviche. So for the Spanish style octopus, we're gonna do a little bit of olive oil, nice fruity olive oil. Garlic powder and some, this is actually New Mexico chili. So we'll do both sides. And this is just gonna go under the broiler. I'm not gonna light the grill for this. So this is gonna go under the broiler for about 5 minutes. I'll flip it 5 more minutes on their side, and that gives you a really nice char and an approximation of a grill. For the ceviche, I've just strained out most of the lime juice, plated it here with some chips. We have some avocado we'll put on the side here. We'll just sprinkle a little bit of cilantro on here. And I've got this salsa negra, which is really excellent with seafood, so we'll just kind of drizzle that on there. So that's the ceviche ready to go. All right, so those come out of the oven. They got a nice little char, and all I'm gonna do is just cut it into bite-sized pieces. And again, I like to leave just a little curlicue for the end there. Oh, it's so soft and tender. I can smell the kind of charred spices. It's gonna be good. Here's how our Spanish octopus comes together. We're just gonna lay down a little drizzle of this nice, again, fruity olive oil. Nice crispy char on this octopus in the broiler. So we'll just arrange those in a flat layer. Oh, this is so exciting. I can't wait to eat this. Then we're gonna do one more quick drizzle over the top of olive oil. A really light squeeze of lemon. Coarse sea salt. And just another little dusting of paprika here. All right, so we have our Spanish style octopus, olive oil, lemon, paprika, garlic, and salt. Give that a taste. Oh my God. If you've never had octopus, it's insane. It's not fishy. It's not like fish at all, but definitely seems like it came from the ocean. It's salty. I don't know how to describe it. It's oceany. The paprika that I finished it with is really sweet and smoky. The lemon, the olive oil, the salt, they all pair beautifully here. This is a great dish. I've ordered this at a Spanish tapas restaurant and it'll be like $20 or $30. I made this for free and a little bit of exercise. We try our ceviche here. We get a bite with a piece of octopus, some avocado, that's a lot of avocado, onion, the black salsa. Oh my God, that is so good. It's like, it's meaty, it's limey, it's spicy, it's creamy from the avocado, the crunch of the chip. I could eat this all day, it is so good. Okay, well, that's a wrap on the octopus. I don't know if everyone's gonna go and dive for them, but you can sometimes buy them at the store. Hopefully if you see one, you're not too intimidated once in a while to cook one. Now I've shown you how, and I've shown you a couple of recipes. It's an awesome thing to eat. We're gonna go eat this for dinner. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.